Ladies and gentlemen, it was a big day down in Ashburn today with the inner squad scrimmages. And I
Mhm.
had to go out and get the hardest working man I know in the community to help me break it all down. Let's get
Yeah.
to it.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries, like.
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another live stream. It's your man Juan Gotti, and to my right, I got the hardest working man in the community. Every second, every day, you see Rio Robinson live uploading a new video. Rio, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, man? Big day in Washington Commanders Nation. Our guy Terry and AP talking on the sidelines. Lots to talk about, as there always is with this team. And we got a workout in today, man. You get yours in yet, man?
I'm actually about to go in after getting it in. It's probably the worst time to go because it's always that 6 p.m. rush. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm too dedicated, baby. We getting it in any time of the day, so I can't wait for it, man.
Yes, sir.
But definitely wanted to just bring you on and talk about the inner squad scrimmage and a little bit of the preview if we get to the preseason bout. Because today, for me at least, was the first time that I've experienced anything like it, right? You saw about the inner squad BURG and go again. It's the first time I've
Mhm.
experienced anything like it. And then when you
Mhm.
see the reasons as to why they did it, I said, oh yeah. For one, they say he pre-planned it. That being Dan Quinn pre-planning it out when he saw the schedule. But I said that may be true. But I think after he's seen the ass kicking that we took on Friday
Mhm.
night, he said, oh yeah, we definitely got to get this inner squad matchup going.
Oh, they had to be some type of pre-planning done. They got shirts. They got shirts talking about Battle of Brotherhood, the burgundy and gold scrimmage. The winners got a shirt after the game. But yeah, we definitely needed some. This would have virtually been a preseason bye week if they didn't do this, because we had joint
Mm-hmm.
practice in a game last week. The game isn't till Monday. So it's like, what are they
Right.
doing? Even though it ended up being just like a practice minus individual and 7-on-7s, it just ended up being a bunch of team drill, but they made it competitive, split the teams up. And the coolest part about it was splitting the coordinators up, letting
Mm-hmm.
Cliff and Whit be the coaches and giving our next in line guys opportunities to call plays and get some bragging rights and stuff like that.
Man, you definitely hit it right on the head with that one. When I saw that they said Tavita Pritchard was the offensive coordinator, I wasn't shocked. I was more so saying, you know what, this makes sense as to why they did that because he's the next guy up, whether it's here in Washington or it's what Jacksonville last year, I think, where he had an
Yeah, he had an
opportunity to
interview.
go.
Yep.
Yeah, so clearly they know it's like this kind of chain of command. I even went on record again, and I'm pretty sure it's not like I'm breaking any news, but I've always felt like Cliff, Tavita was the next man up, or at least it made sense. Him or David Blau to be the next person up once we know Cliff Kingsbury's departure is coming. Just talk to me about that specifically. We know what this means for the players, giving them the opportunities to show, but talk about like just. In my opinion, Dan Quinn doing such a dang good job giving these coaches opportunities to have situations where they have to figure it out, as he said, and he wasn't really the head man in charge today.
This is how we're starting to figure out why people speak on Dan Quinn's name so highly. Like, we were not familiar with his game. We were all making fun of that picture of him standing at Dulles Airport just last January, but we totally get the gravity his name carries now. And part of newfound success is that you have to have a succession plan because we have a defensive-minded head coach. Therefore, coordinators and offensive positional guys in a league that always wants the next young upstart offensive guy, you're going to lose Cliff Kingsbury at some point, and there needs to be someone ready to go when that day does come, whether that's next year, could have been this year. Tavita Pritchard and Brian Johnson being the play callers on both sides, Tom Donatel and Jason Simmons on the defensive side. You love to see that not only are the players in the developmental process here, the coaches are too. And they acknowledged it, they made it a thing, and they put it in a competitive environment. So I'm all for this type of thing. The team used to do Friday night football. Remember Friday night football at FedEx?
Yeah,
When they
I
had
miss
the
it.
inter-squad scrimmage. I miss it too. I was just talking about it the other day, how I missed that event. And then they do this, but they didn't do it in front of any fans, but still sounded like a good time. And it sounded like a good bonding brotherhood experience, and nobody really came out injured. So it was a successful day in Ashburn.
Man, it's funny how you bring up the Friday night thing at FedEx. But that's probably like the lone thing that I loved from the last regime, for that ability for us to see the team give a game-like atmosphere. That was pretty cool. I hate the fact that they went away with that. Maybe that comes back in the future. But it definitely was cool to have something of that sort. And I think I even like my biggest takeaway from it was like, think about what this does for these coaches that once they leave Washington and they may be asked, what was a key turning point where you know you can do this? They may go back to this day. Like, this may be an absolute turning point in their coaching career, whether it was positive or negative, because we know the offense got killed today. We'll get to that. But like, this feels like a check mark in a sense for these
It
coaches.
does.
Yeah, so it definitely was a great planned out event for the organization as a whole. Now let's get to the on-field portion of today, and I'm very interested to hear your takeaways from it, because on the outside looking in, or at least the headlines, I should say, it seemed like the offense was getting dominated.
Yep, the defense was I mean, honestly, this is the stuff we want to hear in training camp, because we know what the stronger unit of this team's going to be. We know who the team's quarterback is, and we don't have the bodies right now. Two of the main guys that are going to be catching passes from Jaden are not there right now, Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. And you can feel it, because guys like KJ Osborne, Ja'Cory Brooks and stuff are catching passes from Jaden right now. So yeah, I mean, it's still like 11 on 11s in practice. We should not be panicking because the defense is having good days. We should be happy for the defensive side of the ball. And despite the defense having good days, you know, other than a couple passes, Jaden is still putting the ball where it needs to be. But Debo, it's like Debo and company right now. But I love what I'm hearing from the defense, though, because I keep telling people Joe Witt Jr. is going to turn the defense around. Everybody wants Joe Witt Jr. fired, which is way too premature. Like, there's no world where Jack Del Rio got the leash that he got here, and we ready to fire Joe Witt after one season where the team was in the NFC Championship game. So I want to see what it looks like in year 2 with a lot better pieces than the first year.
Man, that's really outstanding point about the defense in itself, because as we know, as you mentioned, we're kind of handicapped offensively. Although I do think a guy like Ja'Cory Brooks has had a solid showing outside of Debo Samuel. There's nobody. You brought up Terry McLaurin, who was cited at Washington camp for the first time, publicly having a conversation with Adam Peters, which was, you know, I guess can give you some type of comfort if you're on that side of the fence that's still panicking. Me, I'm still as cool as a cucumber. I think it's going to happen at some point. But I just know deep down inside, this day is made for Terry McLaurin. I know it was killing him not to be able to participate in the game or in the squad scrimmage today. But Rio, I'll be honest with you, the defense, and I get it, it wasn't the starter, so I don't want to like overreact to it, but I'm like, okay, cool, defense showed out. Now do it against a team that's not a team that you see every single day. You pick up tendencies because you're in camp. You know how to exploit the offense somewhat because you're seeing the same thing over and over again. Now Dan Quinn did say they were going to give them some different kind of looks today and not have them practice the same in terms of matchups and whatnot. So maybe you do give the defense some flowers and some credit for the success that they were able to create today. But I'm burning up to see Monday night because I want to see this at least starting unit show some type of competition to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. As that may be tough ask by me, but I'm burning up to see it.
I think Monday night it'll be the first time we get a little bit of taste of Jaden Daniels and company. This offense is a machine, and I don't care how much it sputters in training camp practice. When them lights go on Monday night, I guarantee you see Jaden Daniels marching down that football field on that sorry-ass Cincinnati Bengals defense. So I'm not panicking over a couple practices with a defense. The defense needs some wins. This is the time of year we need to hear optimism on that side of the ball, because we all know this is not a defensive club. This is the offense is going to be the reason why we really have a chance every week. And we need to see just how good the defense and how improved the defense can be. But we got to get our guys right, man. We got to get our guys right. We got to get this Terry situation figured out. And we need to see what's going on with Noah Brown, because Debo, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane as the starting unit, that's not encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head with that. I mean, I personally feel like Luke McCaffrey's a guy that I'm hoping and praying for that he pans out, but it does feel very hard for me to try to keep defending him. Kind of like Jordan McGee on the defensive side of the ball. We know he's ultra talented, that man, Jordan McGee, but I can't keep going to bat for you if you're not out there. That's how I'm kind of feeling about Luke McCaffrey, as I'm a huge fan of the potential that he can be, but being there in Ashburn 3 times this training camp, he hasn't necessarily caught my eye. The only thing I will say about Luke McCaffrey from seeing him up close and personal is the work ethic is there in terms of getting extra reps in and everything after practice. But in terms of practice itself, he hasn't necessarily done anything that stood out for me, especially the other day when I was there. Jaden, I mean, it was two defenders on Luke McCaffrey, but in the back of the end zone, Jaden put it right where it needed to be. Literally can catch it. Granted, it was this small of room for error, and Daniels was absolute perfect laser throw with the throw in the back of the end zone. And you can imagine how that play ended with Luke McCaffrey not coming down with the catch. But that being said, I still am rocking with Luke. But to Rio's point, like, we need our guys out there. And I'm a little less worried about Noah Brown now. But, I mean, I do want to see him at some point. But we have to wonder. He hasn't had a true off-season training camp in like 2 or 3 years, because last year he got cut by Houston and came here late. Then this year, when we finally looked like he was going to have an opportunity to have a real camp, he ends up getting hurt. So you got to wonder if that's going to affect him in terms of maybe a slow start. We'll see. But Rio, I did want to get your thoughts on just some things that you caught from today's practice, who stood out and what play excited you the most, or anything like that you want to add on to the conversation.
I wish we could have got some highlights of it. The only highlight I saw was Sam Hartman and Chris Rodriguez, and that just does not necessarily move the needle with me. And just to finish up the topic you were just going in about, Luke McCaffrey is just not that talented. Like, he could be a serviceable end of wide receiver room type of guy who catches a touchdown and some tough first down catches every now and then, but he's not that talented a guy. And I think we need to accept that, and we need to lower the expectations for him. The problem is we took him in the 3rd round, and in the first 3 rounds of the draft, you're expecting players to be, you know what I'm saying? We took De'Ami Brown in the 3rd round. It never necessarily panned out like we thought it was going to, even though it did in the playoffs for a couple games, but we're like, oh, you're a 3rd round pick. I need 3rd round type production. You need to be a starter adjacent type player here. But as far as today, a lot of Jeremy Reeves. I'm hearing he's running with the starters, and they're running 3 safety sets a lot. All you hear, Mikey Sanders still is becoming like the Jaden Daniels style captain of the defense. Every day you hear about Mikey flashing and Mikey having a good day. You know, he was getting torched a little bit early on versus the Patriots in joint practice last week, but that comes with the territory as well, where he's just getting back to his natural position after playing outside for the majority of his rookie season. But I want to see some of these dudes on the injury list out there, like Jordan McGee. The best ability you can have in professional sports is availability. When is he available? We don't know what he looks like. We just cut Dominic Hampton because he hasn't really flashed anything in the time that he had been here since we drafted him a year ago. we don't know what Jordan McGee looks like in a game uniform at this point because he got some preseason. I mean, he got some special team snaps last year. We haven't really seen what these sub packages and what the schematics look like with Jordan McGee on the field. And he's supposed to kind of be the successor to Bobby Wagner. You can't be any of the above if you're not in the field. I loved hearing that Duke Riley, who just got here yesterday, has already flashed with the defense. You know, more Duke Riley on the football field. Don't want to hear none of his music. Don't need to hear him rap or drop bars ever. I don't need to hear him on a feature with Juan Gotti. You know what I'm saying? I need Duke Riley to be out there making plays and adding to the depth in our linebacker room because it was a rough day for the linebackers in preseason game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, this whole entire linebacker unit I felt was a strong suit for this team this past offseason, headed into this season. And it was solely based off of the trajectory of a Jordan McGee. Like, I haven't seen a team so, I guess, in love with a player that hasn't done much like this front office is with Jordan McGee. And we know why. I mean, they compared him to Dre Greenlaw coming out of the draft class. So we know the potential is there. Him and, well, for that matter, Dominique Hampton, I believe, were making adjustments at the line and calling defense out. So he's shown the ability to have the potential to be what we need. But again, as you mentioned, it's like, if you're never there, what good do you do me, right? And speaking of Jeremy Reeves, and this wasn't the first time that it happened this camp, but again, when I was there, I seen him getting ones with the defense, and I was like, okay, Reeves. You know, I'm a Revo person. I've always felt like, especially that 2020 year when it was DeShazer Everett and Cam Kerr, I'm like,
oh man,
when it was, I think it was DeShazer Everett and Jeremy Reeves for a stretch because I think Cam Kerr may have got banged up, but they were actually hooping. And I'm like, Jeremy Reeves not trying to gas him up as this super talented safety and whatnot, but I've always felt like he could probably do something else besides special teams, especially with our secondary and safety room not being stellar for the past few years. Like, it's not like we have a Ravens-esque safety room where it's like there's no room. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that caliber of safety room to where Rebo isn't given opportunities, but Joe Witt, he's on his word. What did he say before training camp started? He says, I have to find ways to get all these guys on the field. And he's giving these guys the opportunity to show. And maybe that's what Dominique Hampton didn't do as to why they, got rid of him as well.
Revo be trying to kill dudes out there, man. He be trying to take heads off. He does not take for granted the opportunity he has to play in the NFL. He going to make everyone feel it every time he's out there.
Definitely. I mean, you talk about how physical he is. That penalty, I think, on Friday night, oh man, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, that just takes out the fun in the game.
It's football.
It puts the defense at a handicap because you already can't be too physical. You already can't touch the quarterback enough. It's like you kind of got to feel for these defenders. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about something that I picked up on today in terms of the defensive line. Von Miller finally gave Josh Connolly Jr. the welcome to NFL moment that we knew was coming at some point. Because I've been on record saying, like, they match up every single day. And, I think Josh Connolly Jr. matching up with Von Miller every day is going to be perfect for his development. But for the most part, every time that I've seen him, he's been holding his own. And I don't know if that's Vaughn just chilling in practice, not going 100% or whatnot. But today, it was the total opposite, as according to some tweets, Josh Connolly Jr. got worked by Von Miller. Real, take over about Von Miller, man. Because, I mean, I could talk about that guy all day. Just the fact that we have him on our team, I feel like I'm dreaming.
Even this old model version that we're getting of Von Miller, like, I ain't never seen that type of bend off the edge in Ashburn before. So I'm excited to have him there. He's great work for a young kid like Josh Connolly. This is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, when his career is done. So we're not going to hold it against Josh Connolly Jr. that sometime he's going to, he's going to get his lunch money stolen by Von Miller at practice, coming around that edge. This is a guy who's been in the league for what, 15, this 15th season in the NFL, over about 130 sacks. He knows all the tricks, and he's going to show Josh Connolly the things he can and can't do out on an NFL football field. So he has been holding his own for most of the camp. I know we haven't had too many live sessions, and he held his own in the preseason game last week. I love to hear that. I just love to hear that this was more like closer to a live. This was our joint practice for the week. It's just versus ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I think again, having something like this, I hope this is the start of something that's reoccurring for the training camp, because not that I'm surprised, but training camp is very lackadaisical these days. Like, it's not how it was. And I felt like today was a good change of pace for the team to actually truly compete and earn some type of attention from this coaching staff. Now, Rio, I mean, going over some of the notes that you may have taken away, and I know you talked to Lionel, who was there as well. Is there anything else that, kind of stood out to you in terms of this back and forth scrimmage today?
Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt not taking place in it, that's definitely something, but I think it's more precautionary than anything. As long as there's no structural damage and that shoulder's good, because that's a player we're all excited to see play football, especially on Monday night. It would definitely hurt and sting a little bit to not see him. I'd like to hear more out of Jalen Lane in preseason game number 2. Linnell said that there was a play where Jaden dropped a beautiful I guess deep ball on Jalen Lane with Amos in tight coverage. He wasn't able to come down with it. I'd like to see a little bit more of him because I think his role is a lot larger than people realize on the offensive side. I think that's probably your starting slot receiver. So we need to hear more Jalen Lane in preseason game number 2. And on some of those punt returns, I need to see him keep his feet, not Antonio Gibson slide on all his punt returns. I want to see him shake a little bit on Monday. You know what I'm saying? I need to see him make a play.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, and it's been a lot of that, though, right? Like, as you mentioned at the top of the show, the offense has been struggling, and it hasn't been because of Jaden Daniels. Like, it's been because of his pass catchers and the people around him. I think they even said he struggled today, or it was like sub 50% or whatever, but I guarantee you, majority of those plays probably wasn't bad decision making, bad ball. It was just about his weapons not showing up for him. And you definitely want Jalen Lane to contribute the decent amount this season due to the fact that you already have somewhat of PTSD with Luke McCaffrey being drafted in the same round as well. I was a little bit underwhelmed with the, I guess, opportunities that he did receive or lack thereof in week 1, because I think outside of Ja'Cory Krosky Mertz, he might have been our most excited rookie. I mean, unless you know what I'm saying, are dying to see Josh Connolly Jr., but for the simple purpose of Josh Connolly being a first round pick, I figured out he'll be fine. It was more about these middle to late round picks. What can they do for us? And Jalen Lane really didn't get that many opportunities. And granted, too, the defense wasn't getting stops as well on last Friday. So I'm right there with you in terms of hoping to see more out of a Jalen Lane this upcoming game. Now, I mean, before we wrap things up, I know I did want to cover, I guess, the preseason matchup in terms of, things that you're looking for, because I think this is probably the most exciting thing we'll see until September 7th. I don't know how long they'll play, maybe a drive or two, but just talk a little bit about Monday's matchup and what you are ultimately looking for from the fellas.
Most importantly, I want to see what this secondary looks like against possibly the best wide receiver duo and the best thrower of the football in the entire league, Joe Burrow. We saw what it looked like on Monday Night Football last year. It was nonstop scoring from both offenses, and it was pretty much whoever gets the ball last plays keep away and wins the game. And they came out versus the Eagles and got right back to business. Jamar Chase, boom, 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 touchdown. Joe Burrow, another touchdown. 2 very flawless series. I want to see how the defense look. Secondly, even without Noah Brown and Terry McLaurin, I want to see Jaden Daniels get back to doing what Jaden Daniels do. Come on now. He went straight into the preseason last year, went straight down and scored in the first 3 minutes of his preseason debut. And I expect the offense to look a lot more crisp in a game time situation. Cliff and Jaden they're going to right the ship on the offensive side. They're going to get a little creative. They're not going to show too much of what we're going to be doing in the regular season, but 5 + 1 = 6 every time. I think we're going to see a Jaden Debo big play or two, chunk play or two once we get to that game Monday. But us versus our secondary versus their receivers, and just seeing Jaden Daniels on a football field again. And if that's the case, I need Brandon Coleman and them to be out on that field because I don't need my quarterback, our investment on the field behind Scabs.
No, I mean you hit it right on the head with the excitement level of seeing the first team going right down and score. I mean, you look at Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow picking up right where they left off in the first preseason game. I mean, you just envision wishing and hoping that that could be us, right? With Terry McLaurin and Jane Daniels going right down, it's like, all right, pull him. But for the most part, he will get the opportunity to go out there, and I have no doubt in my mind that whoever's out there, it will look pretty. You know what I mean? I hope
agree.
it's the best talent possible, but I mean, whether it's a Ja'Cory Brooks or a Luke McCaffrey or somebody of that nature, it will definitely be pretty fine on that end. I do personally want to say. But so before I move to the defense, that's what I'm excited to see. I'm hoping that at some point we see a better showing from Sam Hartman because he had a better day today. But I was a huge Sam Hartman, I would say, supporter and still am. But he has looked so shaky. At least at the times I've been in camp, and he kind of let it get to him yesterday because the fans started to
Yeah,
like boo him or
Cliff called it out. Cliff called him
Cliff
out.
called it out as well. Yeah, and yesterday he had a we were standing in the back of the end zone, and it was such an easy throw. I think Rio, you could do it. Going back to your high school days, I think you could probably have made that throw. And he overshot it, and the fans started to get noise. You can see him with his head down, and you can see him getting down on himself. I need to see something from Sam Hartman that encourages me that he could potentially not just be the quarterback three, I should say, for this team, but maybe even move into that Marcus Mariota role at some point next year. I mean, you have fans talking about how he is just keep him around for Jane Daniels' morale. He could be Jane Daniels, personal hype man, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But I actually want to see what he could potentially turn into because he had a solid day today. But one thing for me, flipping onto the other side, is how competitive is this starting offense to Joe Burrow and the Bengals starting? Of course, we know it's Joe Burrow, it's Jamar Chase, it's T. Higgins. They're going to move the ball on this defense. I'm expecting it. I'm not expecting them to go in there and go 3 and out 2 drives and then be done.
Yeah, it's
But
not.
I just want
That's not
to,
gonna happen.
I just want to see. I'm gonna be real. I just want to see Trey Amos.
I know.
Can I
I want to
glaze
see
for a
2-3.
second? I just want to
Yeah,
see Trey Amos. I want to
Same.
see what he does.
Same.
Whether it's Jamal, whether it's T, because what does he do? Because
I want him
he has
running that
been-
Chase fade. I want to see him and Chase. Like T. Higgins is cool. Let him run around with Marshawn Lattimore, bro. I want to see Chase run the fade with Trey Amos because by end of season, Amos is going to be our cornerback 1. So I need to know what he looked like against number 1 receivers, bro. That's what I want. I want 1v23.
Do you understand how electrified this fan base would be? Let him get one pass breakup with a pass intended for Jamar Chase. We're starting the campaign for defensive rookie of the year and all that. All right, you know what I mean? All we need to see is one play. Because he had to play against Stephon Diggs in joint practice. He had to play in the preseason game. You called it out from day one. I mean, when you seen him put that 2-3 on, you said that's cornerback 1 aura right there. And he's lived up to it. Like the moment just doesn't seem too big for him. And I've already said it, like this cornerback room it's in such great hands. We couldn't have said that last year, but it's just crazy how much of a year 1 or 1 year turnaround it is for this cornerback room.
Noah Igbenogany as an end of room guy. I'm so hyped about. And he's having a great summer. He had a good preseason game. Like him and Jonathan Jones being depth pieces as guys that could start on a lot of NFL teams. Love the cornerback room, man. I'm excited to see how they fare. Joe Burrow can spread the football around. I am willing to go out there and say that I think Joe Burrow has the best ball placement I've ever seen in football. He is as accurate as they come. He is surgical. So you're going to get the ultimate test this week. Drake May was getting his stuff off on us in practice. So I need to see what we look like versus a real NFL offense, even in a fake game, exhibition game. It's Monday Night Football. The world watching. You don't get to duck like you did in New England last week because the only people who got to see it were people locally in the area or in Boston. But the whole world will be watching this. It's preseason. I don't care what the result of the game is, but I need to see better effort, intensity, especially from those people trying to make the team. You want to make the team, right? The people want to play football for this team. Those end of roster guys, the preseason is about you. It's not about Jaden Daniels. It's not about Debo Samuel. It's these fledgling roster guys. Do you want to go drive Uber or Lyft, or do you want to play in the NFL? Show me. Show me, because that's all a lot of guys avoiding contact, ducking smoke last week. I don't want to see that in preseason week 2.
You sound very fired up about, and I can't blame you, because the back end of this roster, no matter how I try to phrase it or say it, I tell them back end of this roster isn't that talented. When I say it though, it's like met with, it's preseason, stop hating and all that. But I'm like, bro, you might have to rely on a Bobby Price or somebody of that nature.
Listen, bro. If we gotta ever rely on a Bobby Price, you could tuck the season in, Juan. Tuck that thing, throw it away.
So but that's the kind of. So when I was saying that, I was more so looking at the lines of a team like Baltimore, where their back end of their roster, reasons as to why they were undefeated until we broke it in the preseason, because their 31 through 53 are guys that are somewhat qualified, that you wouldn't be totally shaking in your boots if they had to step in a game. That's not the case for us, right? You know, I think there is a few reserves, backups that you may go to and look at and say, okay, I think they can hold their own. But for the most part, are you sure Kosin Yankoff, if he had to come in, could he really show us something
Lawrence
and do?
Cager.
You know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I know you don't want to hear it, right? Bobby Price is somebody that I don't know if necessarily makes this roster, but
not.
God forbid anything happens to where he's on the practice squad and he has to just dress for a week. Him dressing for a week scares me galore. So I just want to see it, but you hit it right on the head with these guys that are on the brink of making this roster or having to drop Uber. If you had to quickly give me a couple guys that's in that field that you're keying in on for not just this upcoming preseason game, but just until the final decisions are made, who would those guys be?
I know one was Dominic Hampton, but he's not here to tell a story anymore. So I'm going to have to pick somebody else. I want to see more of Tay Martin. You know, my man Ed Oliver calls him Big Play Tay. I want to see more Tay Martin, because he actually made the most of his opportunity. KJ Osborne dropped a touchdown. So Sam Hartman's day looks drastically different on Friday. If Osborne catches that slot fade that he put right in the bucket, I thought Jaden threw it. It looked so good. And Chris Moore dropped 2 big first down chunk plays from Hartman. His day looks totally different if that doesn't happen. So I want to see Tay Martin and Ja'Cory Brooks, because they actually did what they were supposed to do last week when the ball was thrown. So Ja'Cory Brooks caught all 5 of his targets so far. Other positions I want to see, I know you brought up the tight end. Lawrence Cager showed us something last week. Can he do that again? I want to see Ben Sinnott. I want to see him featured. I don't need to see Zach Ertz don't need to play but a drive, and I don't even need to see a drive from him. We were blessed by the football gods last year getting 20 weeks of healthy Zach Ertz. That does not happen in 2024-25. So I need him to just sit down. Ben Sinnott need to go out there and run a whole quarter of football with Jaden Daniels in the starting offense and sink or swim. This is probably the worst defense you're going to see in a long time, Ben Sinnott. So go out there and go make a play.
That's a great point for Ben Sinnott. I'm a huge Ben Sinnott fan, and a lot of reason why I'm, I guess, hard on him or expecting I want him to reach is because I'm a Jordan Reed guy. Like we haven't had one of those in years, and I'm not saying he's athletically Jordan Reed or anything like that, but I think real man. I go out on record every single day, and people look at me crazy because it didn't happen. But had Jordan Reed stayed healthy, I think we're talking about him in the discussion as we talk about Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league.
He was that. He was unguardable. He was a tight end, and he was a wide receiver in a tight end's body.
Right. Before this came the norm, or somewhat changing into the norm, of the Brock Bowers, the Kyle Pittses, the Darren Wallace, before it was normal to have that prototypical build. That's what Jordan Reed was. I mean, quick slant inside, man, you couldn't guard that, man.
Ooh, that little move he had when he would win on the slant route, man. That little shake and bake. Oh my god,
man, you couldn't teach what he had, and it's just unfortunate injuries stopped him in his tracks. But that's man. Yeah, man, and that's where view Ben Simmons in terms of how important I need him to be to this team, right? I know it's probably not fair because my own personal fandom for Jordan Reed, but I'm a tight end guy. I
Mhm,
love the fact that there are dominant tight ends in this league.
mhm.
Why do you think Jaden Daniels throw to Zach Ertz so much? It's not just because it's Zach Ertz. It's because that's who he's a lot comfortable with. So you
Security
can't, and
blanket.
he security blanket. There you go. And
Mhm,
he's not here forever. He's not going to be a
mhm.
rapper. So you need to have a guy that can grow with your young fella.
And Juan, we
Like,
took him in the second round. We didn't take him in the sixth. We did
yeah.
not take him as a flyer. We took him in the second round. That's prime real estate of the draft. So we
Hmm.
need to see something this year. It is
Right.
paramount we see that if need be, and Zach Ertz decides to ride off into the sunset, you are ready to start at tight end in year 3, bucko. So we
Yeah.
got to see that by end of year, man.
No, yeah, definitely. And I was gonna just say, like, the biggest moment from Ben Simmons last year was the NFC Championship, like catch on the fake punt. Like that's the
Mhm,
biggest moment that I've seen from him thus far. What I will say before we wrap up here about Ben Simmons is, at least for me last Friday, he was getting open. It
mhm,
was just Sam Hartman either missed throw or just didn't look his way,
mhm.
but he was creating separation. And in
Yep.
camp, he's catched everything. And
Mhm.
also, I don't know how you feel about this, Rio, and I don't know if the money just got him moving different. But why does John Bates have some swagger now? Like he was looking different out there
Jersey
the other
rolled
day.
up with the abs out at practice. I ain't never seen John Bates moving like that before, man. Where does swagger come from, bro? But did he play for Boise State? You did not have that coming into. He was an old tractor. I ride the lawnmower type guy. Now he got the 3-year deal. He got the jersey rolled up with the 4-pack out.
Man, he's looking crazy different, and they even alluded to him having a bigger role in this offense. So maybe I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe John Bates is the successor to Zach Ertz. Of course, we wanted to be Ben Simmons, but Rio, thank you so much for your time, my guy. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you
Always, man.
for stopping by. Let everyone know about Rio Robinson. Everyone knows who you are, but like, just go ahead and give him a final spill before we let you up out of here. And yeah,
Appreciate the love and the flowers, my boy. Keep
of
going. But it's
course.
Rio_Robinson91 on social media. Rio Robinson on YouTube. Rambling with Rio. Always dropping something and running my mouth about this football team that I know, love, and has a stranglehold on me. Appreciate y'all for rocking with the kid. And there's always something to discuss. So this will not be the last time me and Juan link up.
Definitely. So, and ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys go ahead and check out Real Robinson. Subscribe to yours truly, of course, Juan Gotti Talking Sports on all platforms. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we're out. Peace.
Yeah.